we can see it.
So reading
It is the last one.
Yeah, this is the last verse of the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
You know. So Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 18, text 78. Would somebody like to read the Sanskrit?
Yeah, I'll read it. Yeah, I'll read. Yatra yoga ishvaraha Krishna yatra partha dhanudharaha tatra Shri Vijaya bhuti dhruva niti mati mamaha.
So, translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. So Sanjaya, this is Sanjaya is telling to Dhritarashtra after he heard the full Bhagavad Gita from Krishna. And so who of us doesn't like opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality? You know, I don't think anyone wouldn't want these things. We are all hankering for all these things. We all want to be opulent. We always want to be victorious. We always love extraordinary power, you know, and we also want to act morally. And so how can we get that? If we are following in the footsteps of Arjuna, following Krishna's instructions, then we can get that. So the Bhagavad Gita began with an inquiry of Dhritarashtra's. He was hopeful of the victory of his sons, assisted by great warriors like Bhishma, Drona, and Karan. He was hopeful that the victory would be on his side. But after describing the scene on the battlefield, Sanjaya told the king, "You're thinking of victory? But my opinion is that where Krishna and Arjuna are present, there will be all good fortune." You know, Sanjaya is telling Dhritarashtra, you're not going to win because Krishna is there, not on your side. So he directly, and the devotee is not on your side. So because devotee is not on your side, for sure Krishna is not on your side. So then you're not going to win. He directly confirmed that Dhritarashtra could not expect victory for his side. Victory was certain for the side of Arjuna because Krishna was there. Krishna's acceptance of the post of charioteer for Arjuna was an exhibition of another opulence. Krishna is full of all opulences, and renunciation is one of them. There are many instances of such renunciation, for Krishna is also the master of renunciation. So Krishna, he's God. He speaks in the Bhagavad Gita how he says that of the bodies of water, I'm the ocean, of the mount immovable, I'm Mount Meru or Himalayas, I'm the aquatics, I'm the shark. You know, the splendor of the sun and moon is coming from me. All this material energy is just a fragment of my portion, fragment of my energy. No, he's so great, yeah? Krishna is God, he's so great. He says that he's the creator, maintainer of the material and spiritual worlds. All the living entities are his fragmental portions. Yet he is willing to become the driver of his dear devotee. He's so opulent, he's the richest. He's the richest. Do we have that experience in this material world? Any rich man, does he become the driver of his servant? You know, at least I haven't come across that he becomes a driver of his servant and he will follow the orders of whatever the servant wants him to do. But Krishna does that. That shows Krishna's another opulence, renunciation. Krishna is not attached to himself being God. Although he's God, he's not attached. Oh, I'm God. You should all bow down to me and pray to me all the time. No, he says, I will serve you also. Out of love and reciprocation. That is Krishna's opulence. It's his opulence. And how he is following Arjuna's orders. Not that Arjuna is telling Krishna, oh, my dear Krishna, please turn the chariot to the left. My dear Krishna, turn the chariot to the right. No, it's the middle of a war. It's a war, it's an intense scene. So how is Arjuna telling Krishna where to go? By tapping, Arjuna would tap his foot on Krishna's shoulder Suppose he wanted to turn left, he would tap on Krishna's left shoulder. Right, then Krishna's right shoulder. So Krishna is allowing that somebody taps on his shoulder. Would we like somebody tapping us with their feet on our shoulder? But Krishna is accepting such a position. And that's his opulence. He took the position when Yudhishthir Maharaj did the Rajasuya Yagya. So everybody was given different departments, all the family members took different, they were given in charge of different departments. Draupadi was in charge of the prasad distribution. And then there was somebody who was in charge of the guests, to receive the guests. And then somebody was in charge of giving charity. Karan was in charge of giving charity. And then Krishna, what was he in charge of? He took charge of washing the feet of all the guests. He's God. He didn't say, oh, I'm God, I'm not going to do. No, he wanted that service. He said, I will receive all the guests. And he was washing the feet of all the guests who came. And that is God. So he's so humble. That is his opulence, renounced. He's all so renounced. Can you just excuse me for one moment, please? Just one moment. So then the reading on, the fight was actually between Duryodhana and Yudhishthir. Arjun was fighting on behalf of his elder brother Yudhishthir. Because Krishna and Arjuna were on the side of Yudhishthir, Yudhishthir's victory was certain. The battle was to decide who would rule the world, and Sanjaya predicted that the power would be transferred to Yudhishthir. It is also predicted here that Yudhishthir, after gaining victory in this battle, would flourish more and more, because not only was he righteous and pious, but he was also a strict moralist. He never spoke a lie during his life. So this is the reason that Krishna wanted the devotee to rule the world. The world was being ruled by Duryodhana. He was an okay king. It's not that the people were suffering. That's one of the regret that Yudhishthir was having after the war. He was thinking, well, everyone was kind of okay, he was an okay king. Maybe the war shouldn't have happened. That was his regret. But Krishna wanted the world to be ruled by a devotee. And then when Yudhishthir Maharaj was ruling the kingdom, then the earth was flourishing. The earth was so happy that by itself she was producing more and more food grains, more and more riches like oil and gold, silver, jewels were there in abundance. The cows were giving so much milk that the milk was just flowing out of the udders, just flowing, rivers of milk. Because Yudhishthir was a devotee, so everywhere became peaceful and happy. And that's the reason Krishna wanted the world to be ruled by Yudhishthir, to show the world that there's a difference when the devotee is ruling the world and when somebody who's not a devotee is the ruler. There are many less intelligent persons who take Bhagavad Gita to be a discussion of topics between two friends on a battlefield. But such a book cannot be scripture. Some may protest that Krishna incited Arjuna to fight, which is immoral. But the reality of the situation is clearly stated. Bhagavad Gita is the supreme instruction in morality. So many people say, oh, it's just a discussion amongst two friends, no big deal. Like you and me might have a conversation. Oh, two friends are talking. So why after 5,000 years does somebody need to take the effort to try to understand, oh, what were these two friends speaking about? No, it's not. We are hearing already Bhagavad Gita. We read that how Arjuna tells Krishna, I accept you as my spiritual master. I'm your disciple. I'm a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So Arjuna already accepts Krishna as a spiritual master. And that's how Krishna is giving him the perfect instructions, the supreme instruction. Also, some people say, oh, Krishna should not have pushed Arjuna to fight. But Krishna, he comes to establish the religious principles. He says that I come to annihilate the miscreants, to protect the pious and to re-establish the religious principles. And by this Kurukshetra war, that's what he did. He annihilated all those millions of kings who were actually demoniac. They were very demoniac, and they were increasing the burden of the earth, and they were just in the bodies of kings, but they were very demoniac. And Krishna also set the principle that those who are demoniac are going to perish. Those who are the devotees will always win. So the supreme instruction of morality is stated in the 9th chapter in the 34th verse, Man mana bhava mad bhakta. So ordinary morality, somebody will say, oh, I'm a great moralist. I don't speak I lie. I don't do bad things, so I'm very moral. But it's only a pure devotee who's strictly a moralist, because otherwise we are all subjected to 4 defects, right? Cheating. We are always cheating each other. We go to the shop, the shopkeeper will say, oh, I'm not making any profit. Really, I'm not making any profit. And so is that true? No, he's just saying to sell his things. Or we might be cheated. There's so many instances, or we are trying to cheat others so many times. It's either we are being cheated or we are cheating others. And then mistakes, how many mistakes we commit. And that's why then we say, oh, to err is human, there is no perfection. We say these things. And illusion, we are all thinking we are the body. We all thinking, oh, I'm sad or I'm happy. That's the illusion. And then the 4th one is imperfect senses. Our senses are imperfect. We cannot see very clearly. Even the germs that are near us, we can't see them. We need to have the microscope to see. So just by being a person who's, for example, non-violent, oh, I don't speak lies, or I'm non-violent, but that does not make person truly a moralist in the true sense. Only a devotee is a true moralist. And how is that Krishna saying? Man mana bhava mad bhakta. One who has always fixed his mind on Krishna. One must become a devotee of Krishna, and the essence of all religion is to surrender unto Krishna. Sarva dharman parityagya mam ekam sharanam vraja. The instructions of Bhagavad Gita constitute the supreme process of religion and of morality. All other processes may be purifying and may lead to this process. But the last instruction of the Gita is the last word in all morality and religion. Surrender unto Krishna. This is the verdict of the 18th chapter. The 18th chapter is kind of like a summary where Krishna repeats some topics. And so, what is the essential message? That Krishna says, surrender unto me. Sarva dharmam parityagya. Give up all varieties of religion. He says, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I will take care of all your sinful reactions. Do not fear. We should not be fearful when we are surrendering to Krishna. There is no fear. He himself says, I will take away all your sinful reactions. Usually we are always afraid. Oh, this is something I've been doing since so long. It's coming in my family since 50 years, 60 years. If I stop this ritual, then I will get sinful reactions. But Krishna is saying he will take away all the sinful reactions. We should have that faith in Krishna. Until the time we don't surrender unto Krishna, we will continue to live here in the material world. We have to come to that point. Whether we want to come to that point now, in this life, immediately, after 10 years, after 20 years, or after 10 births or 20 births or millions of births. The choice is ours. Krishna does not force us to surrender. He says, surrender unto me. But he does not force us. He gives us that independent will. If we want our own good fortune, if we want for ourselves, auspiciousness for ourselves, then we need to surrender to Krishna. Another feature of Bhagavad Gita is that the actual truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. The absolute truth is realized in 3 features. impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and ultimately the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So what is the actual truth? We know so many relative truths. Truth which is subject to certain time, place, and circumstance. And then after that, it's not relevant anymore. For example, I will say, oh, it is evening now. Well, it's relevant right now. But my statement, it is evening now, does not make sense tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. So it's a relative truth. So there's so many times we are just speaking about relative truths. But what is the absolute truth? Something which never changes, which is eternal, absolute. That is Krishna. He is eternal, never changes. He's the supreme absolute truth. There's nothing or no one beyond Krishna. There is no truth higher than Krishna. When we come to this point, then the only thing we have to do is surrender to him. When we have done our research work, we try to find, oh, who's greater than who? Oh, this one is greater than this one is greater than this one. And then when we come to the point of the greatest, then what do? We automatically bow down to them. They are the greatest. So automatically they are greater than us. So it's the duty of everyone to surrender unto Krishna. Why? Because he's our creator. He's our maintainer. He's our best friend. He has our best interest in heart. So the absolute truth is realized in three features. The absolute truth is realized in three features, which are the impersonal Brahman, which is called the white light or the divine light. And then the localized Paramatma, the super soul. And ultimately, the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna, the person. The absolute truth is a person. Krishna is a person. He's the supreme person. And the divine light, that is the light which is coming from his body. It is the effulgence which is coming from his body. And Paramatma is his feature. He is there in our hearts as Paramatma. And in the atom of, and in each and every atom of this universe. So perfect knowledge of the absolute truth means perfect knowledge of Krishna. So if we think, no, absolute truth is something else, then that is our thinking, that's our imagination. But if we want to know the fact, a fact which can never be changed, then the absolute truth is Krishna. And the thing is, whether we believe it or not, it does not make any difference to Krishna. It makes all the difference to us. If we believe it, then it makes all the difference to us is that we can understand the absolute truth. But if we don't want to believe it, it's okay. But it can't change the fact. Fact can't change based on our belief. So if one understands Krishna, then all the departments of knowledge are part and parcel of that understanding. So Krishna is the root. He's the root of all knowledge. Krishna is transcendental, for he is always situated in his eternal, internal potency. The living entities are manifested of his energy and are divided into two classes, eternally conditioned and eternally liberated. So Krishna, his form, Krishna, even when he comes to this material world and he performs so many pastimes and he does so many pastimes in Dwarka or in Mathura and Vrindavan, that his body is not like ours. We have a material body. So there is a difference between our soul and our body. But for Krishna, there is no difference. Krishna is Krishna. His form is Satchid Ananda, eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. So, and then the living entities, we are his energy. What's our position? We are his energy. We are his marginal energy. Marginal, why? Because we have a choice. We have a choice whether we want to be with him or we want to pretend to be him. So when the living entities want to be with him, they are eternally liberated. They are in the Vaikuntha lokas, in the spiritual kingdom. And the others who don't want to be with him, but want to imitate to be him, they are like us. conditioned souls who are here in the material world, we are trying to think that I am the owner, that I can control the situation, I can control this material nature, I can control everyone else. So and so we are called eternally conditioned. Such living entities are innumerable, and they are considered fundamental parts of Krishna. So living entities are everywhere, everywhere. Of course, this material world is just a small portion of Krishna's creation. The major portion is in the spiritual world. We already say, oh, there's so many people here on this planet. But it's nothing compared to the spiritual world. The material world is just 1/4 and spiritual world is 3/4. Material energy is manifested into 24 divisions. So we also spoke, Bhagavad Gita told us how the material nature, what is it comprised of? Does anybody remember?
What do you mean the material nature comprises of?
So the elements.
Oh yeah. Earth, water, fire, ether. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, right?
Yes.
Those then are the elements, yes. Then the karma indriya.
Yes.
Then gyan indriya.
Yes.
Karma indriya. And then the mind, intelligence, and false ego.
Yes. Yes. And also the sense objects.
Yeah, sense objects. Yeah. Gyan, karma, indriya, gyan.
And so this comes to total 24. So this material world that we are so attracted to, so attached to, that our every endeavor is with wanting to enjoy this material world. It's just these 24 elements and nothing more. Just this 24 elements. That's why we are given this knowledge, so that we can become detached from it. It's just the different combinations, permutation and combination of these elements, and then there are different shapes given to it, and we get so infatuated by these things. The creation is affected by eternal time, and it is created and dissolved by the external energy. This manifestation of the cosmic world repeatedly becomes visible and invisible. So this is the part of the creation that we are reading in Srimad Bhagavatam. So we can see how Bhagavad Gita is just giving us in very short, in brief, and Bhagavatam describes it more in detail. How the creation is happening, how the external energy, she's the material energy. And then all this is just a small fragmental part of Krishna. It's not that he has to work, how we work to build something, we have to work. He does not work simply by his will, his transcendental, most benevolent will. Everything is taking place. So in Bhagavad Gita, 5 principal subject matters have been discussed. Does anybody remember what are the 5 principal matters? You could read it. It's here.
Is it the Bhagwan?
Yes.
And then the Jivas?
Yes.
Then the Prakriti?
Yes.
And the Kal, is it?
Yes.
Time. Then time, Prakriti, Jeev, Paramatma, is it?
Yes. And one more?
Jeev, Paramatma, Prakriti, and your karmas, your actions.
That's right. That's right. And so are all of these eternal or what?
I think only your karma you can change. Rest all is eternal.
That's right. That's right. The Supreme Lord is eternal. The living entities, jivas, we are eternal. Material nature, Prakriti, she's Krishna's material energy. She is eternal. And time, Kal is eternal. In the form of the wheel, it's eternal. Goes on and on. The only thing we can change is our karma. That's why we say the destiny is in our hands. And so we have the choice to stop this circle of birth and death, of karma, and get out of the circle of birth and death and go back home. So this is the 5 main topics of the Bhagavad Gita. All is dependent on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Everything. So everything is dependent on Krishna. We, the living entities, we are dependent on Krishna. He's the one who's maintaining us. Material nature, so we are his marginal energy. And then material nature, she's Krishna's external energy, Bahirangir Shakti. You know, she's his energy. He's the one who's making all this material elements. And then time is Krishna's will. So we see everything is dependent on Krishna. Laws of karma, Krishna is the one who has made the laws of karma. It's not that Prakriti has made the laws. You know, we always need a lawmaker. So there is a court, you know, so the court is there. But we need there's a lawmaker to make the law, no? It's not that just because we build a nice court and all the laws will manifest by itself because there are the benches and the tables are kept there. No, benches and tables cannot make the law. A person needs to be there. And so the laws of karma are also made by Krishna. So
there is a very, very beautiful example I think Prabhupada gave for this, that, okay, if you say that matter has a life and matter can do itself everything, then we'll put the matter and then matter will combine and form a beautiful building itself. Yeah. Then why do you need a human being to do all the thing, mixing the materials and then applying? And then why? Because if matter is alive, as you all say, that matter by itself just had they bombarded with each other and there was a formation of the creation. And if matter can do that, then why not it can produce a beautiful building, a beautiful stadium? We'll put all the matter together.
Yeah, it's true. Yes, so true. So all conceptions of the absolute truth, impersonal Brahman, localized Paramatma, and any other transcendental conception exist within the category of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you see, any part we suppose we say, no, I just believe that God is light. But that is also a feature of the Supreme Lord. So we are understanding a part of the absolute nature of Krishna. So it's still pertaining to knowledge of Krishna. So there is nothing that is not connected to Krishna or is dependent on Krishna. Or we say, no, I only believe in the Paramatma. Okay, but Paramatma is also a feature of Krishna. That is also knowledge of Krishna, also knowledge of the absolute truth. Also is what do you say? The Krishna is the origin of the Paramatma. You know, so although superficially the supreme living entity, a personality of Godhead, the living entity, material nature, and time appear to be different, nothing is different from the Supreme. But the Supreme is always different from everything. So although everything appears to be different, this is simultaneous one and difference. You know, that's how Krishna says that I am inside everything, but I am not everything, you know. There's simultaneous one and difference. How is that? Because everything belongs to Krishna. Everything is Krishna's energy. That's how it is one with him. And how different? He himself is still a person. Not that because he's created the material world, so he does not exist anymore. No, he's still there. He is in Golok Vrindavan. He's there in the Vaikuntha planets. So this is simultaneous one and difference. So there is nothing that is different from Krishna. Nothing, nowhere. There is not 1 inch of land we can go which we can say, oh, this does not belong to Krishna. This is not connected to Krishna. Everything and everyone is connected to Krishna. Okay, Lord Chaitanya's philosophy is that of inconceivable oneness and difference. This system of philosophy constitutes perfect knowledge of the absolute truth. Simultaneous oneness and difference. Achintya bheda abheda tattva. Simultaneously one and yet different. So the example is given of the sun and sunshine. The sun and sunshine are one and yet they are different. You know, when the sun is sunshine, when In the morning, when the sunshine is in the room, we say, oh, the sun is in the room. We do say it, but it's not that really the sun planet is in the room. There's still a difference between the total heat of the sun planet and the heat which is in the sunshine, or the light which is in the sunshine. But also we call sunshine and sun. It's simultaneous, no? So there is no meaning to the sun without the sunshine. And the origin of the sunshine is the sun. So they are simultaneously one and different. Same, we are same with Krishna, the living entities, the material energy, everything belongs to Krishna. The living entity in his original position is pure spirit. He's just like an atomic particle of the Supreme Spirit. So we all want to be God, right? We all want to be God. I am God. I have forgotten I'm God. I will become God after I die. We are actually parts of God. We are born, we have the same quality. Satchid Ananda. Krishna is Satchid Ananda. We are Satchid Ananda. But we are atomic particle. We are very tiny. Krishna is Vibhu, unlimited. We are Anu, too infinitesimal, very, very small. Thus, Lord Krishna may be compared to the sun and the living entities to sunshine. Because the living entities are the marginal energy of Krishna, they have a tendency to be in contact either with the material energy or with the spiritual energy. So the choice is ours. At each moment we have this choice. Each moment. Oh, shall I remember Krishna or do something connected to Krishna? Or shall I forget Krishna for a few hours and do whatever and pretend Krishna doesn't exist and pretend this thing is not related to Krishna? That is pretending. Why is it pretending? Anyone?
What is pretending? Like,
because suppose when we are saying that something is not connected to Krishna,
because we are covered by the Maya.
Yeah, it's just we are pretending that it's not connected to Krishna because we want to forget Krishna. So we pretend that way. It's not the truth. The truth is everything and everyone is connected to Krishna. You know? So in other words, the living entity is situated between the two energies of the Lord, and because he belongs to the superior energy of the Lord, he has a particle of independence. So we are called the superior energy of the Lord because we have consciousness. We have consciousness. The material energy, she doesn't have consciousness. The material elements, they don't have consciousness. There's no consciousness in earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, intelligence, false ego. Whatever consciousness we find in this material world is because of the presence of the soul. It's because of that. So by proper use of that independence, he comes under the direct order of Krishna. Thus he attains his normal condition in the pleasure-giving potency. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 18th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of its conclusion, the perfection of renunciation. So Krishna is giving us this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita so that we can properly utilize the independence that we have been given. First of all, to make us aware that, hey, you have this independence. We have this free will. Otherwise we say, oh, I don't know what to do. It's all in the hands of destiny. It's good luck. It's bad luck. It is destiny. It is karma. No, we have the independence to choose. So Krishna is saying, by proper use of that independence, what can we do? Come directly under the order of Krishna. Right now, we are under the order of Maya. Why? Because we want to forget Krishna. We want to pretend he does not exist. We want to disconnect ourselves with him. But if we choose to remember him, if we choose to connect ourselves with him, Krishna is waiting with open arms. The open arms. And that is our normal condition. It's written here. Thus he attains his normal condition in the pleasure-giving potency. Krishna's internal energy is pleasure-giving, his hladini potency. It's all blissful. All just by being in the spiritual world, just by engaging in spiritual activities, we feel happy. That's the nature of the spirit. Happiness, bliss. So the choice is ours. And that's what Krishna is giving us, this information in the Bhagavad Gita, that choose wisely. He says, I've given you the independence. And he also says, oh, as you, what you put your faith in, that will your destination will be that. So if we put our faith in Krishna, we will go back to Krishna. What we have to do, chant Hare Krishna, continue to hear and read from Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita in the association of devotees. A, B, C, D. 4 things. Just remember A, B, C, D. A, association. B, books. C, chanting. D, diet. Diet means have prasadam. We follow A, B, C, D, and we can always be happy. Then that's our normal condition in the pleasure-giving potency. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any comments, any questions, anything to share, anything to add?
I just have one question. In the beginning, the meaning of this was that wherever there is Arjuna and Krishna, there is victory and opulence, and everything was mentioned, morality and extraordinary power. So definitely there is, but then they also face the difficulties when Arjun was there and though Krishna was there with them. So then how do we, because they were pure devotees, everybody knew, but then they still faced, like when Krishna was with them, even they were called names and they were blamed and they were cheated, they lost everything. So then though they were moral, but there was not victory at some times with them, there was no opulence with them at some times, and they had the extraordinary power, but then they couldn't act on that extraordinary power. So then how do we see that, or can you just explain that?
How do we understand that?
Yeah, how do we understand? Because sometimes even in the real world that happens. So then how do we understand that?
Okay, thank you. Very nice question. So what happens is, because we are seeing from our material vision, we are looking from our material consciousness. Oh, now they don't have a kingdom. They're living in the forest, so they must be suffering. They do not have their comfortable beds to sleep on, so they must be suffering, living in this humble surroundings. But what is their consciousness actually? They don't care. They're pure devotees of the Lord. They're always blissful. They're always happy. They don't care for anything material. Their connection to Krishna is so strong. They're always like the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. They were chief ministers, such opulent positions, like almost to the level of kings. They gave that all up. And they're living in Vrindavan under a different tree every night, don't even have a home, don't even have clothes to wear. So are they suffering then? No, they're experiencing the highest pleasure, the highest bliss. And what is that? Pleasure of Krishna consciousness, because they have Krishna. So because we always are looking from our material position, that if I have comfort of the body, then I will be happy. So we are thinking that even the pure devotees are thinking the same way. But whereas the pure devotees are showing us that they are beyond that they don't care. They are in the transcendental consciousness. And they are showing us that there is higher bliss in the transcendental consciousness than in the material consciousness. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And then I think there is one of the shlokas also, that the devotees are the one who are happy in both distress and victory. It doesn't affect them. That's what you're trying to say with it, right?
Yes.
Because they're at that level, so it doesn't matter to them. It doesn't affect them.
Yeah, because what they are concerned about is their connection with Krishna. They are with Krishna at each and every moment.
Yeah.
So
So either if it's victory or it's loss, or if it's wealth or if it's no wealth, it doesn't matter to them, right? Happiness or sadness, it doesn't matter, because they know that Krishna is there with them in every situation, no
yeah,
matter what.
yeah, and they are with Krishna, and so that's their greatest
Okay.
happiness.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
and then some devotees also explain it in this way, that when Krishna says that my devotee never perishes, so then they say, oh, but then this devotee left his body, or this devotee got disease. So then and some devotees explain it in such a way that Krishna is not speaking about the body, but of the soul, that Krishna is always taking care of the soul, and that it's all auspicious for the soul, that he's protecting the soul, he's protecting the devotional service, he's protecting actually the person, because we are actually souls, right? Not the body.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also we need to understand is that the devotees are not feeling the suffering. They don't feel it because of their connection to Krishna. They are all situated in just transcendental bliss of Krishna Katha. Their mind is totally absorbed in Krishna. And that's where they feel the bliss.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So we'll stop here for today.
Okay.
So thank you so much for joining in today. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Prem, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna. Thank you for being on this journey of reading the Bhagavad Gita. Grateful to all of you.